British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, I'm Emily Deneen, and here's what's making headlines to 11. The person who attacked two strangers on the streets of Vancouver is in court today. The suspect has been charged for murder and aggravated assault and is awaiting sentencing. He has had multiple run-ins with the police and has asked for police to help with his mental health. One of his victims had his hand cut off, but doctors were able to reattach it and said that there would be some physical trauma. The BC Green Party has announced that their candidates in ridings across the province. The party says environmental activist Ross Reed will represent the party on the west side of Vancouver Island. Announcements have also been made about the candidates for West Vancouver, Prince George, and Boundary Similkameen. The provincial election will take place on October 19th. General Motors in Canada and Unifor have announced that they've reached an agreement over GM's Kami assembly plant in Ontario. Canadian press reporter Karen Rebo explains how this agreement happened.
And battery assembly facilities in Ingersoll aren't known yet, but Unifor had said the contract talks would focus on wages, job security, and better pension plans. The union says a ratification meeting is set for Sunday. Unifor represents about 1,300 employees at the Kami plant. They build GM's Chevrolet Bright Drop electric delivery vans and battery modules. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
An expert says that entry-level pay under the deal with Air Canada and its pilots could cause the union vote to go wrong. Canadian press reporter Michelle Zadikian explains all the things that could go wrong.
Under their current contract, pilots earn far less in their first 4 years at Air Canada before enjoying a big wage increase starting in year 5. The union wanted to scrap the provision entirely, but according to a copy of the contract summary obtained by the Canadian Press, the proposed deal announced Sunday would merely cut the 4-year period of lower pay to 2 years. John Graddick, who teaches aviation management at McGill University, says after the airline averted a strike this week, the failure to ditch the pay grade restrictions could prompt pushback from rank-and-file flight crew and jeopardize the deal, which is up for a vote next month. Michelle Zedikian, The Canadian Press.
45,000 dock workers along the East Coast in the United States are threatening to strike on October 1st. U.S. longshoremen are determined to remove the automation from their job so they can be more hands-on. This would shut down ports that handle half of the nation's cargo. The International Longshoremen's Union is demanding higher wages and a ban on the automation of cranes. Google has won a court challenge against a $2.1 billion European Union. This fine comes after the European Union targeted Google's method of online advertising. Associated Press reporter Charles de Ledesma explains what happened in the courtroom.
The EU's General Court said it was throwing out the 2019 penalty imposed by the European Commission, which is the 27-nation bloc's top antitrust enforcer. The Commission's ruling applied to a narrow portion of Google's ad business, ads that the tech giant sold next to Google's search results on third-party sites. Regulators had accused Google of inserting exclusivity clauses in its contracts so to bar these websites from running similarly placed ads sold by Google's rivals. But the General Court said the Commission had committed errors when it assessed those clauses. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
South Korea's military is currently analyzing the short-range missiles launched from North Korea this morning. And over in entertainment, popular singer Billie Eilish posted on Instagram endorsing Kamala Harris's campaign. In Eilish's post, her and her brother say that they are voting for Harris because of her reproductive rights. This left many people in the comments saying their opinions, such as, "I like you better when you just sung." Eilish is among many celebrities that have endorsed Harris in this upcoming election in November. Other celebrities include Taylor Swift, Charli XCX, and George Clooney. It's 15 degrees out there with clouds in the sky, and the low of the day is 12. That's been your news update to 11. Emily Deneen, BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
You've definitely heard of Tinder, maybe Bumble or Hinge, and possibly swiped through these apps before. But did you know that in February 2024, Bumble laid off 30% of their staff and Tinder is continuously losing paid users? To figure out why these massive apps are struggling, we asked college students what they think of online dating in 2024.
Everything that I did on the app kind of led to nowhere.
I just don't want to force meeting people and creating those relationships. It has to happen naturally.
You know, the selection of people on certain dating apps are very weird. Most people don't meet the love of their lives on there. I meet them, I get ghosted after 5 weeks, or I ghost them.
They're pretty gross. I wouldn't recommend.
If you want real love, read a book.
I understand why they would use them, but I feel it's a way to open yourself up to maybe people you wouldn't want to meet.
My friend tried it. He was on Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble for a year straight, and then he found like a princess. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I was pretty jealous, bro.
I haven't really used dating apps before just because I'm a bit scared of being scammed or kidnapped.
I don't think dating apps are very effective, especially for men.
Welcome back to Double Take Discussions. As you could probably tell, today's episode is about dating. More specifically, dating apps and how they have changed the dating culture over the years. As always, I am your host, Keenan Tregaskis, joined by my co-host, Ryan Sheridan, and this is Love at First Swipe.
All right, online dating. I feel like online dating is such an awkward topic, but it's so strange because I feel like everyone has used an online dating platform before, which absolutely shocks me to find out that Bumble has laid off 30% of their staff this year and Tinder is losing paid subscribers. I'm honestly shocked because I feel like everyone I know has tried a dating app, tried some sort of website. I feel like it's just so common. So seeing those stats is just mind-blowing to me, honestly.
Well, I remember we talked about this earlier, how we're young, but also it was huge a couple years ago during COVID. That's when people had to use online dating because you couldn't really go outside. And it's just grown beyond that into a lot of people realizing they have different intentions than other people on dating apps.
I never realized people had different intentions on dating apps. I thought everyone was there to find their match, to date someone, until I experienced it myself. But today I talked to Nicole Haley. She's a dating and life coach in Vancouver with 20 years of experience. And this is what she had to say about how different intentions can cause frustration when it comes to online dating.
Or my intention is I just like to meet a lot of people and I'm not really sure I want anything serious. I just want to go on lots of dates and meet a lot of people, maybe make a friend. Or my intention is I'm really insecure and I just want to know people like me. So I'll have conversations or I just want the likes, but I don't actually want to meet somebody in real life. So what's happening is you have misaligned intentions. And when we have misaligned intentions, that's when we get hurt because we're assuming the people we're interacting with has the same intention as me. And when they don't, we're like, oh my God, I just got ghosted. Or why don't they want to meet me in person? Or why are they not asking anything? Or where did they, like, that's what happens. So it's not wrong. It's just misaligned.
I think that's a perfect example of how different intentions can lead to people being hurt. And I know on these apps, you lay out your intentions. Like you can put down, I want short-term, long-term friends or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when you do match with someone, you expect that if things go well, you're going to get what you want out of it, without realizing that this other person who you've never met before may really want different things despite what their bio says, because they might be saying things just to get those matches, to get those likes, to get those interactions, when inside they don't feel that way.
For sure. I feel like that's kind of scary. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, Keenan, I'm guilty for creating an online dating profile and like not taking it seriously. I'll look through, see what the options are, read about people, but I'm scared to match with someone. Like I think honestly as a girl as well, it's kind of scary to put yourself out there and go on a date with strangers when you don't know where their head is at. I don't know how it would feel for a man, but definitely as a girl, it can be really scary, and you don't know how people are feeling. You don't know who these people are behind the screen.
I do agree with you there, but when we talk about how they used to be like a decade plus ago, I think there was a little less fear on either side, either gender, no matter who you are, because at least with Match.com, there was a permanent paywall, so people were having to pay to get into it anyways, and answer some security questions to verify that you're a person, to verify that you are a good person who is looking for people to date. Whereas now you build your profile, you put your pictures on, you slap it together, 5 minutes later, you're swiping.
Well, exactly. And there are payment options for Tinder and Hinge and every dating app, but it's just an option. You don't have to. There's some extra benefits you would get out of it. So I think more serious people would pay for a Tinder subscription, but people aren't doing that because you can just swipe through the app and you will have a crazy amount of options. It's so oversaturated. Everyone is on them. It's so transactional and quick nowadays, where back then it was basically only serious people looking for relationships paying their subscription fee. But now everyone is on them. You don't even have to be of age. People underage are making accounts. It's gone crazy. And I think that because of the overuse and abuse, people are deleting the app and they get it back, and they'll delete it again and get it back and kind of rely on it as a default. But people are hoping to meet people organically, and they're using Tinder as like a default option.
Yeah, well, even with the paid users who are on Tinder or Hinge or Bumble, you still have all those free users who you'd be seeing anyways. It's not like you're paying to become part of this exclusive club of other paid users, and you only see their profiles, you can only like them or match with them to indicate that you're getting together with more serious people with similar intentions to you. You're still seeing those people who are there to mess around, to just have conversations or hook up or whatever it is. But you did mention organic there, and that's going to bring me into my next point here, is that organic relationships are trying to come back. And one way that they are coming back is through running clubs, which you and I figured out when we were researching for this episode. Down in America, in New York, they have a big boom with running clubs and people going there with the effort to and the intention to date people that they meet there, like other similar people. Obviously, you're both at the running club, so that's a similar interest right there. And it's also become a bit of a trend up here. And I was actually able to interview the manager of Flight Crew Run Club here in the Vancouver area. His name's Tristan, and he shared a similar view with me on this topic.
Because of its tenure, it doesn't feel too much like people are coming out specifically for the dating or relationship style aspect of it, but I think I see it very heavily influenced in terms of how social it is.
I find it kind of funny because I don't think anyone would openly admit that they're going to a running club to find love, but there is a specific running club that does focus on that, right, Keenan?
Yeah, well, I learned this from Tristan off camera. But he did tell me about a local running club in the Vancouver area. The running club is called the Monday Run Club, but the single run club is on Wednesday, and it's called Soul Ties, where people, all singles, local singles, whatever, in the area get together for a run on Wednesday night, and depending on the color of the shirt you are wearing indicates what type of relationship you want with the other people there. Unfortunately, neither one of us were able to get through to them in time for this podcast, but it is something that's very interesting. They didn't have any really contact information, but they do have a social media page, Monday Run Club, where you can find their information.
I think that's so cool. Maybe I need to check it out because I'm clearly not having any success on dating apps. But oh my God, I did see a funny quote about the run club in New York. People were saying at that run club that it's easier to join a run club and less tiring than swiping on a dating app, which it's
it's ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic, but it's hilarious. People are really just going out of their way to try new things and meet more like-minded people, which is great. I think that needs to happen, but I found that really funny, and I found it really interesting when I was talking to Nicole. She mentioned that people just don't know how to interact anymore. I'm not sure if it's because of COVID or what it is, because of dating apps, because of COVID. People
or just texting in general,
Yeah.
too. Because you can text and take as long as you want to write a sentence, or when you're talking to someone in person, you kind of have to go off the ball, speak right away.
Of course, there's so many keyboard warriors out there. I don't know who to trust.
But here's the other part. People are like, I want to meet organic. I want to meet organic. But they actually don't know how to do it. So when you go in and you're out and about, whether it's the grocery store or at like a networking event or even a social, like a sporting thing, people don't know how to make eye contact. People don't know how to smile. People don't know how to approach each other anymore. So as much as people say they want it to be organic and natural, we've lost that skill to interact with each other. And that's a skill we have to build back in. And it's really evident since post-COVID.
I 100% agree with what she's saying. And before we wrap up here, Ryan, you need to hear this stat. We talked about how they peaked in COVID, and on Statista, I found that it kind of proves this. So 2019 to 2021, total revenue on dating apps went from 124.51 million to 162 million.
Wow. In 2 years?
In 2 years.
Wow.
Can you guess what we're at now? We've had 3 years since 2021.
Oh my gosh. So post-COVID?
Post-COVID. 3 years.
Post-COVID. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Just lay it on me.
We are at 181.67 million. So that's about a 20 million increase in 3 years compared to the 40 million over that span in COVID.
Wow.
So you can see it, the arc of their income kind of flatlining, and it looks like the prediction is that it's going to continue to flatline because the expected total income come 2028 is expected to be 198.36 total revenue made from dating apps. These are the stats from dating apps in Canada. So this is our country's total revenue built up over the years.
Okay, Keenan, now that we're love experts, is it time for me to delete Hinge?
Yeah, I think we learned that in-person interactions are better for relationships.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'd say we're love experts.
I would say we are. Thank you so much for listening to Double Take Discussions. I'm Ryan Sheridan.
And I'm Keenan Tregaskis. And if you want real love, read a book.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.